The FNRad Snowboard podcast is presented by Vans. Season 8 of FNRad is sponsored by Wired Snowboards, Anon Optics, the Boardroom Snowboard Shop, Find an Epic Agent Worldwide Real Estate, and Tributeboardshop in Nelson, BC.
This real estate secret could save you thousands. Never contact a realtor yourself. Instead, have Find an Epic Agent refer you to proven local realtors. Why? We pay you from the commission the realtor pays Find an Epic Agent for your introduction. You get the best real estate agent working for you, and we put your money back in your pocket. In over 30 countries, Find an Epic Agent makes it cheaper to buy or sell a home. That's why it pays to click findanepicagent.com before contacting a realtor.
Support also comes from Dakine, Mount Seymour, Grouse Mountain, Pro Standard GoPro accessories, and Volcom Outerwear. Hey, you can also watch the show on YouTube. It's the exact same show, but you get to see the guest, you get to see me. All right, go subscribe. Thank you. Awesome. Special thanks this episode to Beneath Apparel. This place's awesome vacation rentals in Whistler, and Tomahawk Indigenous products. Andy Finch was a name on a Palmer Pro Model snowboard to me up until I met him in real life at his home in California. His story is great, and he's a ball of smiling energy who absolutely loves snowboarding. Before I arrived at his house, Andy had been plowing his driveway to make a mound of snow for his kids to play on. So rad. He sent me on my way with snacks afterwards and a big hug. He's an amazing example of what a pro snowboarder can be. Here's my interview with the great Andy Finch.
As a kid, my dad had a love for the mountains, and he wanted to share that with me.
Yeah.
I was an only child, high risk, and we had these junk. I think a neighbor had some skis for sale out in front. They were junk. I mean, his still had a leash on them. I mean, we're talking old skis, right?
My dad tried to bring those on a lift one time, and they were like, "Sir, these are too dangerous."
If our mountain would have known any better, I'm sure they would have. I remember him wrecking, and he's in jeans, and I'm in $5 ski bibs and my soccer lotto jacket, and he blew out his jeans one day, so he had to take his sweatshirt off. My dad was a hairy guy, so he's got his sweatshirt off. He's wearing it backwards as we ski through the lift line on a crowded Christmas day.
I love this guy.
And it's all hanging out the back, right? There's nothing. He didn't wear underwear, so there's nothing there.
That is crazy.
Oh my gosh. I still have a great visual of that. That was hilarious. But my dad, he figured he was going to die in Vietnam. So he hightailed it out here and went to Hawaii for the summer, lived out of his car, started surfing. And that's where he kind of got a love for board sports.
Killer.
He started windsurfing when that was big, late 80s, 90s.
Yeah. And
kind of got me into that. And then I saw snowboarding. And what really captivated me was a guy catching air where I'd never seen someone catch air before, because I'm still on chairlift with the skis on, right?
Yeah.
And this guy comes over and does a method, more of a grasser, and just like, that's what I'm gonna do. There's the rest of my life right there. I'm gonna snowboard.
That's
sick. I bugged him for 10 years.
Whoa.
2 years, excuse me.
2 years.
I bugged him for 2 years.
Yeah.
And I finally got straight A's. The only time I ever got straight A's.
This is for real. He was like, if you get straight A's, I'll get you aboard.
They'd always told me if I got straight A's, they'd take me to Disneyland.
Okay.
Well, I'm 11, 12 years old. I'm like, I don't want to go to Disneyland. I want to snowboard.
That's amazing.
So they went and got me a demo Burton snowboard, and I was shocked. We went up there. We got completely brutalized the first day. His butt was black and blue. We both thought our wrists were broken. That was before the tiller. It was just it was all man-made snow, and the comb of the cat would just grab a chunk of ice and drag it till it became this big, and we're running into these things and getting knocked over.
Death cookies.
Big old death cookies. The next time, he's like, Andy, you sure you want to do this again? And I'm like, yeah, Dad, we're doing this. He's like, all right, so we're cutting stadium seats out to fit in our snowboard pants and like figuring out how to pad ourselves up. We show up in the parking lot and we're like filling the snow, and it's like a foot of pow. It's like, I don't think we're gonna need these. That night, my dad goes out and buys a snowboard.
Rad.
Impulse. I'm like, are you kidding me? I bug you for 2 years. I keep saying 10. 2 years, and you go out and buy a board that night. So I was like bitter but stoked. Yeah. And he became my best buddy. We just rode all the time together. It was an hour and a half to the mountain.
Yeah.
And I was a public school kid, so we were weekend warriors.
Yeah. What's the mountain?
It was Sierra Summit. It's now called China Peak.
Yeah, I've never even heard of it.
Yeah, it's still a little
Yeah.
podunk mountain, but it's fun.
You ever go
It's
there?
playful.
You still go?
Yeah, when it's so I still visit my family in Fresno,
Rad.
and if there's good snow,
Yeah.
it's a pretty cool zone of the the Western Sierras. It's basically like 30 miles by crow fly from Mammoth.
Okay.
Mammoth's on the eastern side of the Sierras,
Yeah.
and China Peak's directly on the west side.
Killer. Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So you're obviously you get fairly good for your age because you. When do you win your first nationals?
Well, we had an incredible crew of local riders that I remember being this little, 13-year-old kid, maybe 12 at the time, like, can I ride with you guys, And I remember them just popping 180s everywhere
Yeah.
and while they're pointing it, and I'm just trying to keep up.
Right.
And that was, chasing them around was just so fun.
Do you know how perfect of timing it was for you to get a snowboard at that time? Because you're the first generation where they made kids boards that actually functioned. 93 was like, pre-93 there was a few things to choose from, but there not much that was very good.
Yeah, the early 90s were incredible.
Yeah.
Just seeing how fast snowboarding was changing.
Yeah.
I mean, the pros at that time, the events that was starting to come to them, and with Terrier and Daniel Frank, Jim Rippey, those guys, loved watching them. I mean, big fan of Blaze, and
Yeah.
Farm was kind of my first guy, though. His runs in Alaska, just charging. Everyone else slowing down before cliff bands, and he's just, and then backflipping wind lips. And,
Such a sender. Yeah.
which, when I first got on Rip Curl, I was pretty psyched to, like, he showed up on the first shoots. I'm like, no way, you're on
He
Rip
was on
Curl
Rip Curl too?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so dope.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. Yeah, he kind of went the whole way through. He's one of those guys that it's too bad that I don't mean have a manager type of thing, but that he didn't manage his career. He wasn't able to manage his career to have the longevity of like a skate legend or a surf legend, because
Not possible. He's too wild.
He's too wild, but he deserves
you have to reel
it.
him in.
Yeah, he deserves it.
There's no way. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he paved the way, but that was kind of the essence of snowboarding, right?
Yes.
You know, that's kind of part of what made snowboarding. I mean, I remember that guy just everywhere we went, he was rapping.
He flew to Europe with his board with no board bag. Just like he took the sticker, stuck it on the board, threw it in the thing.
Of course, why wouldn't you?
He flew in his boots, so he didn't have to pay any extra money.
No, and that's the beautiful thing about snowboarding, right? It's
Yeah.
not, here's the rules. It's like, here's what you can do and what you can't.
Right.
And this is possible, so let's do it.
Yeah.
And the same thing with my dad and I. We found any way to make it possible to get to the mountain, to get lift tickets, whether it was a club card or, maybe I had to be 6 years old for an extra year or whatever it was. Like,
I did that.
You
for
made
my
it happen,
kids.
right?
Yeah. Totally. That's rad.
Now it's kind of hard to do all that stuff. I mean, it was just a different time.
Yeah.
The rules could be bent.
A little bit.
And all the skiers knew it, and we were hated for it.
Absolutely.
And because we were so hated, it made that small community of snowboarders so close. All those guys, they're my lifelong buddies.
Yeah, cool.
We're good friends still to this day. We just have this bond and connection that is unbreakable.
So when do you first compete, and is it an instant success, or does it take?
There was Michelle Harvey, now Armstrong. She kind of took that crew of ripping snowboarders, kind of took them under the wing, and she started the Central California series, because there was NorCal, Southern Cal. And Central Cal was just kind of lost in no man's land.
Okay.
So she started her own. She had to run. She knew the rules, ran so many events. And so that first year, we started competing locally, amateurly. And we had a blast. Those were, looking back, some of my fondest memories of snowboarding were those early days competing. Everyone cheering each other on, laughing. No one cared. We just had a great time.
Right.
And but I remember after the second year, she's like, hey, you got enough points to go to nationals. You're going to nationals. I'm what? Excuse me?
That's crazy.
And that was my first. I went to Vermont. I had the nightmare of a lifetime to just this 14-year-old kid. Bags didn't show. I was surfing couches.
Man.
I ended up running over the mountain manager's son on the mountain. He cut it, and then he knew my bib number, and it was a nightmare. And I never ridden ice before.
And is your dad there with you, or you?
No, they sent me, go. You're 14. Like,
No.
I felt so out of place, lost.
Yeah.
And Vermont had, I think Danny Cass was there, and I remember some of the other guys. there was a small group of guys there, or I should say a big group of guys compared to what I was used to.
Right.
But they were core industry people, you know?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
were heavy players, and I just felt like an outcast, man.
Yeah.
It was tough for me.
How did you do?
I did horrible. They were these really tiny, short jumps, which I didn't know about landing on the landing. And I usually landed a lot of stuff, but I was just sending way past the landing. Like I saw some old footage, and I'd go 20, 30 feet past the landing. Couldn't figure out why I couldn't land it.
That's amazing.
And I'd just blow up. So I did horrible. And then, and I think I was riding a 139 Kingpin at the time.
I don't even
Spoon
know.
Spoon nose, really short.
Oh, yeah.
And then the next year, it was in Southern California, Big Bear. And that was my snow, my conditions. Everything was bigger, better built.
Yeah.
And I did well. And that was first time I won nationals. So
You won.
yeah, overall.
You won the overall.
Overall,
right,
yeah.
right,
It was
right.
overall freestyle and overall with racing and everything. I didn't care. If it had to do with snowboard, I was doing it. I
Right.
did not care.
Okay, so winning nationals at that point, like we're talking about when the snowboard industry is looking for the next young kid that's gonna dominate. So
They were
obviously-
hunting. It definitely seemed like they were ushering in the next generation.
Yeah.
And something was kind of cool. I got put on the junior national team at that time.
Okay.
When you won nationals, you got put on the junior national team. Danny Cass, Lane Knack, they were on there. Gretchen
Rad.
Blyler, Kelly Clark eventually was on there. So a lot of the crew that we ended up
Amazing.
coming up through
Yeah.
the ranks with. It was really interesting too to hear some of the names that had been on that junior national team. Like kind of if you made that team, you ended up making it,
Yeah.
which was kind of exciting.
That's super rad.
Yeah.
Do you know some of those guys from before? Like who
You'd be
else?
surprised the names that have come through there.
Really?
I just named off some of the ones that
those
came through with me.
Those are huge.
Who else came through there?
I think Roach
Ross Powers.
Powers, yeah.
A lot of the half pipe kids. I'm not sure what it is about half pipe, but that's kind of where you made a career competitively.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Where big air and stuff was more, you made it, I don't know, in a different way. There was like different avenues to make it to the top. And because I didn't know anyone, the one thing I knew the industry couldn't deny was results.
Right.
In which Rip Curl loved. They loved results. So just like surfing, right? Rip Curl's all about WCT, the surfing events. They're pro riders going out and getting big wins.
Yeah. If it's not broken, don't fix it.
When I went in there, that kind of fit their mold, and there's a lot of years there where I kept hearing the same thing: prove yourself this year, and next year we'll support you big. And I heard that quite a few years in a row, and nothing, which was
Really?
hard. That was
Yeah.
super hard.
That is a bummer. So you're sponsored basically regionally. Is that what's going on?
Until 99, once I hit, won Junior Worlds
Yep.
in border cross.
Yeah.
Swatch took me on. Palmer started paying me, and
Dope.
then I was on Swag for a couple more years, and then Rip Curl. I swapped
At that
because
point.
Swag it kind of fizzled out.
Did you talk swag with Trent Bush and those guys, or did you already have Bob Klein as an agent at that point?
Ooh, timing question. See, now we're starting to turn some wheels.
Yeah.
Gosh, so end of the 90s into early 2002, I think, is around when Bob Klein came on, and that's kind of when some sponsors started changing.
Got you.
And that's also when I started showing up on the scene.
Yeah.
Because I was racing border cross till then.
Okay.
Border cross dies,
Yeah.
which I was like, I actually left border cross before it completely died. But
Yeah.
I wanted to be in there. I wanted to be freestyle. And border cross was about staying low.
Totally.
Like, I'd be trying to, like, I love gapping the doubles or the triples, you know?
Rad.
And Palmer's like, you're slow, dude. Stay on the ground. Stop trying to air those things. Dude, it's so sick to gap these things. They're so fun.
Yeah. That's killer. So you start pivoting more towards freestyle at that point?
Oh, yeah. If there was, I was doing border crosses, and if they had a big air that night, I was doing the big air too.
That's
I was
killer.
sneaking away while people were practicing border cross, trying to get my feet wet in the half pipe.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
It was an opportunity for me to travel and to ride these bigger features that the local mountain I rode didn't have.
Yeah. So where do you really get into half pipe? Because that's where.
We did some trips up to Sierra Tahoe early on.
Mm-hmm.
like right before nationals. Like I need to go figure out how to ride pipe because all I knew is you want to go high, you jump. So I'd get to the lip and I'd jump and I land in the flats.
Oh.
Which at that point my knees didn't care.
Right.
I'd never been injured till the second week of the new millennium, where I crushed my knee on a 30-foot quarter pipe, G'ing out and fell a good 40 feet to flat.
Oh God.
Everything. I hit my chin on the board. I tried to land it.
Yeah.
I could at that point I landed everything. So like, I remember being in the air too, but like, oh shoot, how should I fall? Like that's a long way to go. Well, let's try and land it. And I just compressed.
Oh my
and everything
God.
hurt.
Yeah.
A couple days later, I was in surgery, and they just started pulling stuff out. And
What was it? Your knee?
I basically crushed all the soft tissue in my knee.
Yeah.
And then 3 months, I was back in surgery. They were pulling more out because the tissue was dying from the compression.
No.
And which gave me a lot of early on arthritis. And
Yeah.
I lost flexion. Like I have these door stops in my knee now.
Yeah.
Like I can't even do a method anymore. It kills me.
That's the worst.
How bad is that?
Yeah.
Like the best trick in snowboarding.
Yeah.
And it's embarrassing. I go to reach and I make it about halfway down my calf.
Yeah. I have that with new boots. Like that.
Oh yeah.
New boots. It's like I can't get my.
That's
hand
my
on-
everyday, bud.
Oh man, sorry to hear that.
But there's always switch methods. So those
Oh, that's badass. I
It's
can't
fun.
even do a
you
switch
can.
method.
you can do it normally. You can do it switch. Just you train yourself. You're like,
It's
all right,
so hard.
break it down. Here's what I'm doing. I'm leaning on my toes. You can do it.
Yeah.
Give it a try. Try it
Oh.
into POW.
Hey, I've tried. Yeah. Well, my methods aren't that good either, but yeah, that's sick, dude. So at the injury, what age are you?
I was 18. I'd never been injured. I even had the nickname like Pitbull just because
Yeah.
I would take these hard slams and get right back up. I used to jump off 2-story buildings for fun. Like I love to be in the air. I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
I remember being 3 years old and climbing steps and just jumping. How high could I jump before it hurt?
Yeah.
I used to jump out of trees, whatever. I wanted to fly.
That's unreal.
I'd sandboard at the local. In the summer there was a gravel pit near my dad's work,
Yeah.
and I'd sneak in through this mud pit, and I would take my old Burton Air snowboard and I'd ride down these sand dunes. And there was like a cornice on top, and then it'd be like I was trying flips, and
That's
I'd be
awesome.
pulling sound out of every crevice for a couple of weeks. But,
Yeah.
I had a passion. I loved it, man.
Yeah. So do you first spend a lot of time in the air in half pipe, or is there slope style going on at the time, or just big air?
Big air was the start.
Yeah.
I remember being in Vienna, Austria, and doing one there. I was dying of thirst, needed water, and all they had was Red Bull. Had no idea what a Red Bull
you
was.
went to the Innsbruck.
Everything,
style or whatever?
everything I had was
Yeah.
bubbly, right? And they had
Yes.
these Red Bulls, and I'm like, I'm dying of thirst. So I'd pound like 4 of those.
Oh God.
I couldn't land a damn thing. I qualify like first place, and I go to finals. I couldn't land anything the first couple runs. So I tried the tricks I always land. Couldn't land them either. I'm like, what's going on here? And then I'm like, why am I shaking?
Yeah, those Red Bulls, those early Red Bulls, I don't know what was in them, but they were.
No one knows.
You could not drink more than one. That was
all I had to drink. I was thirsty.
Oh man.
But yeah, big airs was kind of my introduction to freestyle world, and then just trying to catch up. Like I said, I was behind the 8 ball with half pipe.
Yeah.
And wanted to be in Olympics was kind of the big deal. So
Which year of Olympics?
I went to 2006 in Torino,
Oh,
which
sick.
is really cool because I'm half Italian, and
Oh,
I actually had Italian relatives in Torino.
That's so cool.
And so it was my grandpa's first cousin. I go and meet him for the first time, and he's like, "In your honor, we want to roast a pig. It's gonna be this big block party. We're gonna roast a pig. It's on this day. It's the same day I'm supposed to compete in the half pipe at the Olympics."
Oh no.
And so like his nephew, he's translating
yeah.
to my great uncle, whatever, and he's like, he can't make it. He's here to do this event. You see, it's called the Olympic. Well,
Yeah.
whatever. He's gonna roast a pig. You kid. He was so offended. He was furious. I watched them dialogue in Italian for about 10 minutes before he calmed down.
Wow.
Like, what bigger honor could there be than to, roast this pig? Olympics? No, I'm roasting you a pig, dog. Like, we're gonna do this.
Awesome. That's so awesome.
That was pretty cool. That was really cool.
So who's on the U.S. Olympic team that year?
It was Danny Cass.
Yep.
We had Mason Aguirre
Yeah.
and Sean White.
My
So,
God.
yeah, it was
How
me.
did everybody do?
We did good. Gosh, I ended up qualifying third that morning. Danny Cass went straight in. because they only took 6 from the first run. And then Sean White had to take a second run. He ended up winning. Danny Cass got second.
Yeah.
And then Mason and I were later.
Still top 10
finals.
kind of thing? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, still made the finals.
Yeah.
See, that was the thing. I heard Todd Richards talk about it. He said, you know what, the U.S. didn't really participate that much in the Olympics. I mean, they did, but they didn't have an event, and they didn't really have like that kind of winning. Europe dominated Winter Olympics for a really long time.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, all eyes were on the U.S. going into that one because the U.S. had just swept the podium in 2002.
Exactly.
So it was, all eyes were on us. It was kind of the showstopper.
Yeah.
And
that's where Olympics, it was this unexpected thing.
Yeah.
Because 98 was kind of scandal, Ross Verbegliati.
Oh, it was still a joke at that time, right?
Yeah.
The misfits. And...
Yeah. It wasn't sure which way it was going to go. Then the sweep happens, and all of the American eyes are on.
The year we went, they should have taken 14 guys from the U.S.
Yes,
and
exactly.
they took 4.
Really?
So it was a battle just to qualify.
Yeah.
All that battle.
There were some new rules where each country only gets to take.
No, that's just Olympics. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. I mean, being on the team, you got a little taste of how ugly the politics of the Olympics are and what a big moneymaker it is. And that's why Terje boycotts it, and rightly so.
I think so too.
It's sad that they don't support the athletes more. They really take advantage of them.
Mm-hmm.
But either you could get caught up in that, or you could go enjoy this opportunity.
Right.
So I went and enjoyed the opportunity, and I'm really grateful for it. But I think behind any big organization, there's some nasty stuff going on. So
hell yeah,
it's like, take it for what it is, enjoy it.
Yeah. What was the athletes' village like?
The athletes' village. It's like a concrete jungle. It was like dorms. It was.
Yeah.
I mean, like these concrete dorms. Like it wasn't even finished. They
were building it for the Olympics, and they just didn't quite get it done.
Yeah. Everything was like, all the construction was still going on. Some people didn't have sinks, open plumbing. Wow. And we're used to going to these events where we're so looked after and pampered.
Yeah.
We were spoiled.
Yeah.
And we show up to this Olympic village, and there's like 4 dudes in a room, and and like we're on top of each other. And
yeah.
That part, honestly, it was great to be part of the team, but the village was kind of lame. What was really cool was how Olympics, if you were an athlete, you could kind of go anywhere. You got to go to all these athlete tents, and you could travel anywhere. Like you could hop any of the buses or trains for free, and you just kind of show your card, and you went into these clubs, these parties, wherever you wanted.
Yeah.
So that part was really fun.
Yeah.
That was pretty special. It was totally different than anything we ever did.
Yeah.
So anytime you get a new experience, that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. We had the Olympics in Vancouver in 2010.
And how did that change Vancouver?
Probably not at all, really. But for those 2 weeks,
they built a road just for it, didn't they?
Yeah, they did double wide the Whistler Road, so it created a faster road to Whistler.
Well, we saw it change Park City.
Yeah, it did. What did it do at Park City?
Oh, it went from this kind of like chill ski town to this mega, just commercialized ski town that was kind of overwhelming. Everything's high speed and all these new condos. It just changed the look and the feel.
Okay.
And one of the reasons there's been a lot of pushback. Like they don't want the Olympics here.
Right.
We like the way Tahoe is. We don't want it to be this mega commercialized, which it's already kind of going that way with these villages. But it changes the face of a place.
Yeah, I found Vancouver, I don't know what infrastructure. They built like an Olympic ring, you know what I mean? The stuff that you don't see anyways.
Yeah.
But, they had the Vancouver Olympics at Cyprus, which is the most bizarre choice for an Olympics ever. Our local mountains, from time to time, they don't open for a season. Because it rains too much. Yeah. They're down low. And if you watch the cycles, like I watched the cycles, it was kind of like, 2010. That could be.
Odds aren't looking good.
Bad year.
And we're the same way. You're on a cycle, right?
Yeah.
You have enough bad years. You're like, we got a good one coming.
It's coming. Right. I remember seeing Farmer Baker one year. We were on a bad cycle, and he was just like, I drove to Baker from California to ride. I heard there was going to be 12 centimeters or 12 inches. Like, I'm going. And he slept at his truck, rode the day, hung out for a bit, and then took off. Yeah.
Well, and here's the reality: being up in Vancouver and us down here in Northern California, like one of us getting it.
That's true.
And it's either you or I. So
Yeah, that's
some
true.
years you guys get it, some years we get it.
It's true.
And when you're getting these insane years, we're just jacked down here.
Yeah, and when you guys are getting the crazy
Yeah.
snowmageddon or whatever you call it, oh my God.
February.
Yeah. It's nuts. It's nuts to see.
Yeah, this year we had Snowvember.
It's November, yeah. It's happening more now, I feel like. It feels like early season happens.
You know, everyone always asks me, like, you think it's going to be a good year this year? I'm like, well, whatever they're saying it's going to be opposite. That is pretty consistent.
Really, hey? Yeah, I always say I have a feeling this year's going to be a big one.
I've been finally just busted out a little Canadian. Thank you. I've been waiting for the hey, you know? Like, I was like, where's your accent? Come on. All right, we got it.
There you go. Yeah, totally. For me, it's the early season is every year is going to be the best.
Yeah.
Every year. So, you know, in 99, we broke all these snow records. Turns out that was also in like 79 and 59.
Really?
So
10-year cycle.
Yeah. So I think a 20-year cycle. Who knows? You just don't know, right? Like one storm could.
I feel like here we're kind of like a 7-year cycle.
7-year cycle? Yeah, I heard that there was like a toilet bowl effect that's the El Nino, La Nina stuff, between Japan and Canada or the West Coast. But it doesn't seem to make any. If you actually looked at what they say, like you say.
Whatever they say, it's pretty much going to be opposite.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, years ago, they didn't have any weather stations far out. They were just at the shore.
They're learning a lot.
Yeah.
But still, what are they looking at? 100 years? 150?
Yeah.
That's nothing.
And like literally 20 years ago, they couldn't predict shit. So like you've got maybe
I'm blown
50
away
years.
that what they can predict now.
Yeah, like they're like
pretty incredible.
It's going to turn to rain at noon, and you go up there and it's snowing, and you're like, "This is so great. There's no way it's going to turn." And then it starts raining on you at noon,
or even getting like within a couple inches is incredible.
Yeah.
Do you know how much moisture is going to fall?
I don't know how they're doing it. Computer models or who knows?
AI. All AI.
Yeah, AI, man. So, all right. Olympics happen. You do fairly well. What happens?
I hope my kids come through the mic.
I can hear it a bit.
They are rowdy. Surprised it doesn't sound like we're under a train station.
What age are they?
They just turned 6 and 9.
Oh, that's a great time.
I feel like it's the golden years.
Absolutely.
It's super fun.
Yeah. They're still kids.
They just had their second POW day today.
Oh, that's epic.
It was pretty cool.
That's epic.
Their first POW day, it was the same day I ruptured my Achilles. That was gnarly. Like I was so excited. Like this is great. We're riding POW with my kids. Like a dad's dream. And I just get overzealous. I knew conditions were variable, and I thought I saw a good patch of snow, knowing that snow can fool your eyes.
Yeah.
Went in hot and heavy, through the kitchen sink at a toe turn, pow! Just started carting. And then I'm yelling just with frustration.
Oh, of course.
I just ruined the day.
How does that injury happen? You
just
pull too hard?
Too much pressure. You load up, and you're trying, just too much pressure. And I hit ice, and a little pop, so it loads up, and then a little bump just finishes it. And Tommy Shasheen, who good buddy of mine, we ran the Amazing Race together in 2011.
Oh, really? No way.
He did his exactly the same way 3 months earlier.
Oh, wow.
Toe edge turn, hit ice.
That's crazy.
So we got to kind of go through rehab together.
He wake surfs a lot, right?
Professionally. He's incredible. Yeah. So he's kind of the one who got me back into wake surfing. Yeah. And so we do that a ton now. So that's what I do in the summer.
Yeah, on Lake Tahoe.
On Tahoe, man.
So Tahoe's this perfect place if you wake.
Other than it's freezing.
Is the lake cold?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it really is that beautiful. That's Sand Harbor there. There's a fun trail called the Flume Trail above that, and when you look down, you're like, I'm looking at the tropics.
Yeah.
But where's the palm trees? I'm looking at pine trees.
Yeah, so totally.
It's beautiful. Yeah, 30 feet of visibility. Like crystal clear visibility.
It's a really big alpine lake, probably one of the biggest ones in North America, right?
I think it's the second biggest.
Yeah.
It's 1,600 feet deep, average 1,000 feet deep.
Holy shit.
It's huge. There's a lot of water there.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah.
I the last time I was here, I don't know, I just get used to being by the water. I think it's like that's sea level. But it's not even close.
And it's so deep, one, it never freezes.
Yep.
Two, it never gets that warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's wetsuits. What do you guys wear? Shorties or fulls?
It depends. I mean, we're like full rubbered up.
Yeah.
Beginning of the summer. I mean, it doesn't start to warm up till middle of July.
Yeah. And then is it shorts or is it
we'll
shorties?
trunk it through September.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick.
But you might get up there some mornings in September and, it's 30 degrees out and you're
freezing.
just jumping in a boat.
When and how do you get into the boat stuff?
In my teens, growing up in Fresno, we have a lot of days around 110 degrees, really hot.
Yeah.
And so I would work. My dad's business was just down the street from the lake. So I'd work in the morning. He'd drop me off at the lake. And I started wakeboarding a bunch. I was trying to be professional in wakeboarding and snowboarding.
I could see that.
And then I crushed my knee in 2000.
Yeah.
And the impact of wakeboarding just killed me. So and then with where snowboarding was going and wakeboarding was kind of dying, I just went all in with snowboarding. So I had that background with boats. A lot of time. Had a lot of the tricks on dial.
Yeah.
And then wake surfing was fun. I found surfing when I was 16. I spent a lot of time. That was a beautiful thing about Fresno. You were an hour and a half from the coast, hour and a half from the mountains.
Cool.
So I was once I turned 16, I was driving back and forth nonstop surfing and had a love for the ocean.
Yeah, your 16th birthday sounded like it was quite the day. How do you get your license on your very first day of being 16?
Yeah, in Canada, when can you get your license?
You can do it when you're 16, but there's some sort of like, you got to do like young drivers or you got to do
so
some
at
sort
15 and a half,
Yeah.
you can get a permit.
Okay.
So you go take a test, you get
Yeah.
a permit, and
Yeah.
then you can drive. You have to drive so much under your parents'
Yes.
driving, and
Yeah.
then you have to schedule it. And I scheduled to take my test that day.
Nice.
Like the morning, as soon as they open,
Yeah.
I booked it as early as I could,
Amazing.
which I was just motivated.
Yeah.
And so I got my driver's license when I turned 16.
Amazing.
And little did Palmer and Swag both know that the gear they sent me showed up on my 16th birthday. So
All
I
of
got
it.
my first 2 sponsors
Wow.
and my driver's license when I turned 6. I'm
What a
like
day. What a
happiest
day.
kid on the face of the
Yeah,
earth.
that's incredible, man. Yeah, there are some places in Canada where you can get a driver's license early, like what you're talking about. But now, it takes like 4 years to get a full license.
And it should.
Yeah, yeah, it should. Yeah.
There should be some kind of snow driving course.
Oh
in
my
there.
God, of course, right, yeah. Like I have my full license at 16, and we just took the car.
I
and
should
we're
have
like,
never been given my license.
Yeah, we drove like 16 hours. We're like, let's go surfing, and we drove out to Cape Cod. It's like so far away from where we lived.
Should have never been allowed to drive.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Especially rental cars. I mean, our whole goal every time we got a rental car was to make sure it caught air before we returned it. Jumped every rental car.
Oh my God, that's awesome. So you would drive and go surf and then drive and go snowboarding. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty sick, dude.
Oh, that's why I can't leave California. I love it.
Yeah.
Except you can do that a lot. I've done it in New Zealand, Alaska, Norway, Chile. Where else? I think there's one other spot I'm missing, but Australia as well. Surfed and snowboarded in the same day.
Oh, all of those you did them in the same day.
All of those in the same day.
Oh, dude.
It's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of this thing, right?
Did you compete in that like surf snow challenge
I
down
did.
in Bend?
Yeah.
How fun was that?
Actually, not the Bend one. They did one here in California.
Yeah.
For a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah. It turns out I really wasn't as good at surfing as I thought I was.
I think that wasn't that the thing. Were the surfers better snowboarders or were the snowboarders better surfers?
Oh, man. Skateboarders and surfers.
Yeah.
I think just because snowboarding's just not as hard.
It's so
honestly.
easy.
It's so easy.
Compared to learning how to surf.
Surfing's so hard.
Or surfing well.
Yeah.
Right.
They crushed it. I did a little floater and thought I'd get some points and got like a 3 or something. Like, what? Come on, guys.
Oh, no.
Did a rock to fakie. Come on. Like, what? In the half pipe.
Yeah.
But we had a blast with it. It was really fun.
Oh, so it was a three event.
Yeah,
skating, surfing, and snowboarding.
snowboarding.
That's fucking
Todd
cool.
Richards did really well. He was in it that year.
Yeah, he's a good surfer. He's a great skater. He's an amazing snowboarder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, he really.
And he's a competitive. Did you compete against him?
Yeah. I was kind of coming in as he was going out, but he was definitely winning events when I showed up on the half pipe scene.
Yeah.
I looked up to him a lot, especially just. I think if you wanted to follow someone that had a successful career, like what did he do? Because he probably had one of the longer careers out of anyone I know.
I think if you include his announcing career, he's the longest like professional.
Yeah, but even just the snowboarding side.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he probably could have prolonged it a little bit more with backcountry. Someone that's
He didn't ever do that, did
No.
he? He never did. He didn't do a backcountry era. He's still doing McTwists, trying to see who can do him the longest in there, like to the oldest with Terrier, right?
Is he?
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think
surprised.
so. I think so. I'm going to be talking to him too.
My hopes is like I just turned 40. I'm 41 now, but
Oh, wow.
when the day I
look
turned
young.
40, I had a really good backcountry day. I'm like, I got to backflip off a cliff and land it today. So that was like my goal. Was like
Yeah.
keep backflipping.
Oh, that's sick, dude. Yeah.
I used to have this dream when I foolish as a teenager, like I want to be doing backflips when I'm 80.
Wow.
I now really doubt that.
Who knows, man? Who knows?
I definitely I see that we get more fragile as we get older. Like,
Oh, hell yeah.
we definitely just break. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
Hey,
80 years old.
you're
do
halfway
backflip?
there. You're halfway there. You're still doing them.
That makes it sound like a really long ways away.
Yeah, it is a really long ways away, but it goes fast, actually.
Right.
I found all my 40s to go so quickly.
Well, time speeds up, doesn't it?
It does. It really, really does. Yeah, it's kind of chaos.
I'm definitely getting to the point now. Like, I'm just enjoying riding my kids, seeing them.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you kind of like today, you kind of sacrifice like a good pow day to just go do slow turns, but you're just passing the candle, you know.
One of my favorite days ever was a pow day with my kids. And yeah, it was a little bit frustrating. Teaching my kids was frustrating because that's just the kind of person I am. They're like, how do we do it? I'm like, you do it. You just do it. Like you
Go
practice
fall.
and you go and you go. And then one day you can do it. But yeah, seeing the looks on their faces when they're like, we can go as fast as we want and just crash and it doesn't hurt. Like, yes, please. This is awesome. But you'll get back there. You'll get back into the backcountry and and you got your free ride years ahead of you.
That's where I got my start in snowboarding. It was just free riding.
Right.
That's how we rode. We just made the mountain our playground.
Yeah.
And being up here in Tahoe, it feels right. Like Tahoe's really playful.
Yeah.
It's very accessible.
Place. I'm really happy every time I come down here, blown away by the accessibility to like the number of resorts.
Yeah.
And just like, you know, there's a lot of hungry people. Like, how busy was it today?
That was calm. That was chill.
Yeah, it was. Oh, yeah, it's Monday.
It's
Sunday
but
was insane.
Yeah, and that's still nothing. Like, you hit a holiday weekend and blue skies. Like,
yeah,
you might as well just sit on your couch because you're just gonna be sitting in your car otherwise.
What if you? Yeah. So
up.
like, what if you roll up there at 6 a.m. or something and just get in the front of the line?
You're gonna be on hold. I mean, if it's a big pow day, you're on holds.
You're on hold.
You know where to go and where not to go.
Yep.
There's days to go. There's days. The one days you try to grab are the sneaker days.
Sneaker days. Those
I mean, today was almost kind of one where you go out, you get the free refills throughout the day. You know.
Yeah. Super. Oh yeah. Was it dumping up there all day?
It was dumping.
Yeah.
It was nuking pretty good.
Is tomorrow supposed to be sunny? I think it is.
Partly.
I might go.
You definitely should.
I gotta get interviews too, though. And I had such a good day yesterday. It's like, do I ride or do I get work done?
Did you bring a split board?
I don't even split. I'm embarrassed to say. Actually, I'm gonna own it. I'm not embarrassed to say it. I don't like splitting. I'm no good at skiing.
Did Bassett say that today?
No.
I've tried to get him into it. He's like, it hurts my knee. I'm over it.
He says he's gonna. He actually did mention that on tape. I think that it hurts his knee.
Yeah.
No. Right after we quit, because he's gonna maybe go up to Area 241 tomorrow and try and
turn his chairlift on.
Yeah.
Get a snowcat.
Get a snowcat.
His area is so sick.
Have you been up there?
I've helped him build some of that stuff.
Oh, that's so rad.
I love Mikey. He's like one of my favorite dudes.
He has the right idea. Like, he's conscious. He's paying attention.
Dude, and his knowledge is incredible.
Yeah.
And his ability to just dive in. He won't have everything figured out. He'll just have a vision.
Yeah.
And go.
Yeah.
And I love that about him.
Yeah.
That motivates me to go beyond my comfort zone and try things.
Cool. Yeah, actually, we're talking about Todd Richards having a long career. Bassett is still sponsored right now.
Oh, yeah.
And he was sponsored in 89.
He's always been at the forefront. I mean, what he did with POV shots.
That was insane.
And then just everything. His resort.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if you saw the rock on the front of the house. He helped me do all that here.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's rad.
I loved what he did with his cow. I'm like, dude, would you help me?
Yeah.
So he came and spent a few days helping me face the front of the house.
That's wonderful, man. That's so cool.
He's such a rad dude.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys know what happened losing his property. And
we talked about it a little bit, but
his
I know
shop.
Yeah.
The dude lost everything, man.
8 months apart.
I told him it's like you pretty much died.
Yeah.
and lost everything, but you didn't. Because when you die, you lose it. You take none of it with you.
Yep.
He pretty much everything got taken away, and he had amazing tools and car. I mean, just his life's work of woodwork that got burned up. I mean, that had to take a part of his heart.
Yeah,
So,
for sure, for sure. He seems like he came through it with a good attitude.
Of course, he's Mikey.
Yeah.
That's Mikey right there.
Yeah.
He comes through. He's the most positive dude I know.
Yeah, he's dope.
Yeah. Anytime I can get a day with him riding, it's like, let's go.
Yeah.
So we'll put a lot of days in. Sometimes at Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
Because that's right near Area 241. And
yeah, he's got his pass up there. That's what he was saying. He rides with, probably his wife rides too, I'd imagine.
I haven't seen her out there riding.
Oh,
I imagine
maybe
she rides, but
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sure his kids are going to be ripping soon.
Oh, my God, yeah.
I'm sure he's excited. That's going to be cool. He's going to be such a good daddy.
Yeah, he talked about it.
Yeah.
Like
His mom and dad are around. They take, man, every time he's got a project, guess who's there doing the back-breaking work? His mom and dad.
Really?
They're always there.
That's amazing.
They have looked after him and Tina. They're just awesome family.
They have to be, to have those two. Like, they'd have to be
right?
incredible.
Two awesome human beings.
Yeah. That did so much for the sport too.
Right?
Yeah, both of them.
Both
of them. Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Hey, you mentioned that you went to New Zealand for, what was the
World Heli Challenge.
That sounds, how did I miss this? Well, okay, first of all, I'm not a contest guy. I'm not even a video guy, you know what I mean? I just go out and snowboard. But I know the names of people that have had a lot of fun doing it, that have gotten in the magazines.
Like that.
But that sounds like something, that sounds
New
like
Zealand's
supernatural.
wild. I mean, just with Queenstown and the kind of the X factor that's going on with bungee jumping and jet boating, they just kind of had this edgy lifestyle.
Okay.
And snowboarding fit right in.
Yeah.
And then doing that, I mean, incredible mountains, but really tricky to nail. I mean, you talked to Travis Rice, that first video party filmed down there kind of changed everything.
Yeah.
I mean, they put some serious time down there to get that many good days.
Right.
It's just not easy.
Right.
Flat. There's no trees, so flat light, very susceptible to avalanche, wind. It just rips through there. So to get it good, and we had one year where like our freestyle day was just scary because it'd be pow. You'd send a roller and land in ice.
Oh God.
Like, it's not like you got to like ride it and figure out what was good. It all looked the same. Just like I was talking when I ruptured my Achilles.
Yeah.
I know snow can fool your eyes.
Right.
Don't trust your eyes.
Right.
And then the next day we were on this big steep face with gnarly features, and it was blower. It was go time. I mean, the first round was kind of test the waters.
Yeah.
And when I realized how good it was, I mean, anyone that's put enough time in snowboarding, and I'm sure you have the same thing, Eric, there's a few days you can think of that were so deep, so good,
Oh yeah.
that you don't even look. You just go.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how big.
Mm-hmm.
I remember days where you look at the tops of the trees and make sure you don't run into a tree.
Right.
And other than that, if it's a small tree, whatever, there's enough snow in it. I mean, there's probably a handful of days that I can think of like that. And that day at the Heli Challenge was like that.
So this is a contest that's run in fresh snow.
Yep.
And what's the format? 2 runs or something?
It's kind of like, it's more visual inspection.
Yep.
1 run. And if there's time, do 2.
Oh,
It's
wow.
all done by a bird.
Yep.
The Freeway World Tour does something similar.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the big dogs, because that's how video parts are filmed, right? It's not like you get test runs. You can't track it up.
Right.
Because it's going to ruin the shot. So you take a picture, you study it, you go up, you plan your line, and go kick some butt.
Yeah.
And hope you stick it.
Yeah.
Hope it doesn't stick you. So I think that's kind of where the pinnacle of freeride big mountain is. You know, just see your line and try and put it down.
Yeah.
So, and that was the World Heli Challenge. And it was an event back in, I think it was the 90s, and then they brought it back. And I think Rip Curl was the title sponsor, so they sponsored again. So that was kind of cool.
Oh, that's rad.
And to be a part of the Rip Curl team.
Yeah.
So that was neat.
What other contests like that? You went to the Arctic Challenge?
Yeah, I did a bunch of Arctic Challenge. We did, I think I was part of 9 X Games. And
Holy shit.
did the 1 Olympics. I think I only actually was able to ride in half of them because half of them I was injured.
Yeah.
Including the one I got injured right for the Olympics, and I couldn't practice at all. I tore my Liz Franck.
What is that?
It's a ligament that holds the bones in the middle of your foot together.
Oh, God.
And I ripped it apart, so the doctors wanted to send a screw through the middle of my foot.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I got to drop in the half pipe in 12 days.
Yeah.
So, and I couldn't even walk. So I showed up on crutches, and and they tried to pull me from the team. I'm like, I'll sit on my snowboard and go down. I worked hard to get here, which was super selfish. I'll admit. They had Ross Powers is there to take my place if I couldn't ride.
Oh, poor Ross.
I know, after winning in 02.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm riding. Actually, the day of, I took one practice run. Like, we're good. Next run, qualified third.
Nice.
And then practice went great going into finals. And like, all right, TV hold, everyone take one more run. Took one more run and broke my wrist.
Oh, God, no.
But whatever, still ride. You can ride with a broken wrist.
This is nuts. So your foot is fucked. You've got a broken wrist. And your
back was seized too. I couldn't turn to the left.
Oh, my God. And you're in the half-pipe finals.
Yeah.
In Torino.
You can push through anything for a few minutes. So.
Oh, my God.
I actually had a pretty good run going. I just was going a little bit bigger than I was in practice, and I landed past into the half-pipe.
Yeah.
Snapped the nose of my board off, and that was it.
Wow, man. That's nuts. Yeah. That's nuts. That has always been the thing about competitive snowboarding that has baffled me. And skateboarding. I'm sure it's the same in surfing. Like, a lot of athletes are hurt going into the bigs. Like, you're hurt a lot of the time. Like, a lot. The Red Bull athletes have, like, this world
pretty much all the time
rehab.
But it's amazing what you can do with a good support team with rehab. I mean, I couldn't have done that without the physio that I was going through nonstop.
Yeah.
FNRad down in SoCal, he was traveling with me, and dude, magic man. He was just constantly hitting these trigger points, turning muscles on. I'd go beat him up, turn him off. He'd turn him back on. I mean, Olympics, he was working on me 3 times a day.
3 times a day.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
But it was a miracle I was able to ride. Straight up miracle.
It is a miracle. Like, break your wrist and you don't just like go to the hospital and
no, just wrap it up,
wrap
keep
the
going.
wrist. Unfriggin' believable. So I mean, that's the thing that I'm thinking. Like, it's like that Die Hard, right? Like, you've got that one day, and so much goes into that one day. That you're
that's hard. Yeah, I feel bad for a lot of the Olympic athletes, just because to put that much pressure on someone one day out of 4 years.
Yeah.
How heavy is that?
And then 4th place to the end.
I mean, a snowboarder could blow it, and next week they got another event in Norway, and it's some huge event. So it's not a make or break for a snowboarder.
Right.
It could make a snowboarder overnight.
Yeah, totally.
But it wasn't going to break a snowboarder overnight.
Right. Yeah, I remember when Red Gerard won, he was like, it's just a contest. I'm just at another contest.
Yeah.
It's the same as every other
I think there was
contest.
something to that, because I think most snowboarders had that view of Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the everything for them.
Right.
And I think there's almost a draw from the public, like, how could these guys not care that much? Like, there's this draw that they're just not all about it and not attached to it.
Right. Well, the 98 Olympics, we're talking about, so the people that are there for the classic events have been training for this their whole life. They've had physiotherapy and trainers and all the wax technicians, all that stuff. And then the snowboarders in 98 show up. Heike's, is that when Heike had the Mohawk? That was
02.
Oh, that was 02. Right.
Yeah.
Like literally these guys are on their own, training, drinking beer,
the outfits were
weed.
a joke. Everything was a joke.
Yeah.
Well, and even that year, I think 98 was like an exhibition year, wasn't it?
I
It's
think
kind of like test the waters, and
I think that's right. 98, and then 2002 is
it went huge. Yeah, Park City. Yeah, the boys swept the podium. JJ, Danny,
turf.
and Ross.
Yeah, that's
home turf.
Nuts. Yeah,
that sent everything in a different level for sure.
Yeah,
and then Sean White too. He was coming up into his own.
Did you ride with him a bunch? Like,
yeah, I mean, I was competing with him at nationals when he was 7.
Yeah,
and then see him around Tahoe, and so we saw him. And one of my good friends I grew up with was directly competing with him in the amateurs. Because he was like 7. I think he was 7 years younger than me, maybe 6 years younger.
Yeah. Mikey Rentz was on the Burton team. The same. They kind of came up together.
Yeah.
They would do those road trips together in the beginning. And I mean, Mikey went completely the other direction, right? Like this soulful free rider guy, super freestyle backcountry guy. And, Sean is Sean.
No one's ever had the support that he had. Like, they knew this kid had all the talent. Burton gets behind him.
Yes.
The pros get behind him. The industry gets behind him. So everything was laid. All he had to do was go out, land on his feet, and win.
Yeah.
And he did.
Like,
He was bred to win, man.
There's something crazy about the path he took. Like, he was like a superstar guy that wasn't really a part of the community, it felt like. He kind of did his own thing.
Once you hit a different level, it's hard. I mean, I saw the falling out with his buddies. You know, he was close with Pierce and some of those guys. And I remember the day they kind of had a falling out in locks.
Yeah.
And I think there's just a tension there. You know, how do you continue this friendship with this stardom? You know, well, and I don't know how jealous they were, but either way, it created tension.
Right.
And it's kind of like a marriage. It takes two.
Yeah, I got you.
It's never just one side.
I got you.
And he had a lot of tension.
He seemed to have a hard time, like, being cool with that.
You put any of us in that situation, and we're all gonna struggle.
Yeah, I could see it. Yeah, he was
part of our nature.
He was just so dominant. Hey,
he was incredibly dominant. Yeah. I mean, he had an advantage and an edge.
Yeah.
And
he had the talent and the drive, which it's just like,
I think a lot of it had to do with the support too.
Yeah.
He just had a really good support.
I could see
he didn't have to be distracted with anything else. He could go out and just ride.
Oh,
I constantly, you know, I was doing all my travel bookings. I was trying to do my sponsorships. I was trying to figure everything out.
Yeah.
And so I think that kind of takes away some of your focus, where he could just every day.
Yeah.
You know, even like going to public school. That took away, right? I was 5
course.
days a week. I was sitting in a classroom instead of riding.
Oh man. Yeah. There's no academy out here that you could have gone to or something like that.
I remember once we went to nationals, I got some letters about academies, but you know, you look at my parents didn't have the money to send me
It's
to any of
expensive.
that.
Yeah.
But the kids that went to those academies did really well.
Oh hell yeah.
And honestly, I didn't really want to be in Vermont. Like, I kind of wanted to be, I wanted to be in Cali. I'm just, like I said, man, the coast.
Yeah.
Even where I live now in Tahoe, like when I'm looking at a house, I'm like, all right, how quick can I be to the beach?
Yeah.
How quick can I be to an airport?
Yeah.
And that was kind of it. Like, I could come home, I could line up some photographers, get some shots, jump on a plane. I could shoot down and go surf for the day.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's just a lifestyle that I kind of really appealed to me, and I always wanted to be a part of my life.
Yeah, I really want to hear about the Arctic Challenge, because that was Terrier's kind of, thumbing his nose at the Olympics, or like, this is what an event can be like. How fun was it to go to those events?
I think, I mean, if you're into other sports or like tennis, like the U.S. Open was kind of the pinnacle. Like, that's what everyone wanted to go do. And for a snowboarder, your event you wanted to go do well at and be a part of was the Arctic Challenge. It wasn't X Games. It wasn't Olympics.
Yeah.
You talk to any snowboarder, they wanted to be at the Arctic Challenge.
And why is that?
Just Terry kind of being the legend that he was of snowboarding, and being kind of the grandfather, the head figure, his design, and big transitions with the backdrop of the fjords, to follow up with surfing in the fjords, everything about it. And not to mention, when you went to be a part of it, you were experiencing the Norwegian lifestyle. I mean, like, we're eating well and all kinds of crazy fish that you never would eat. It just, the whole experience was incredible. The local people were so welcoming and so supportive. I mean, all the kids got out of school and showed up.
Cool.
I mean, the town showed up when they did an event. Even just the backhoe dug quarter pipe, not to mention the biggest airs row he's done there, right?
Yeah.
And that was kind of my thing. Like, in half pipe, I was always battling Ante Adi for the win in the half pipe.
Yeah.
He was doing back-to-back 1080s, and I was trying to go bigger on everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I fit my mind, like, win the crowd, win the judges.
Yeah.
I always tried to win the crowd.
Yeah.
Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't.
That's sick.
So that was my niche. So I kind of focused on it, right? Like,
yep.
All right, I know I can go bigger. And I think a lot of it came back to being at a mountain where I chased around these older guys that were better than me.
Yes.
And we rode fast so that we could hit the natural features with speed so that we could fly.
Yeah.
That ushers me into border cross. I learned how to go fast. I chased Palmer around. Here's how you sit on a snowboard. Here's how you take a line through a turn. That transitions into half pipe. Palmer's making these fast boards. You know, honestly, my half pipe board, it sounds like you distributed them for a while. I don't know if you ever rode it. it really wasn't that fun to free ride on, but man,
It's too stiff.
exactly.
Yeah.
But you could go about 3-4 feet higher in the half pipe.
Yeah, yeah.
It ripped in the half pipe.
Yeah.
I remember people saying like, your board kind of sucks for free ride. Like, and I still have some of them, and I realize it now.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I don't ride that thing anywhere except in the half pipe.
Yeah.
And mine were actually stiffer than the production ones.
Oh my God.
They were, but
That's incredible.
they were super stable. And
Yeah.
and now I realize that if I go to a normal board, I'm going about 3 to 4 feet smaller,
Of course. Yeah.
if not more. Like
Yeah.
it's- it makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Feels like just a little wet noodle. Like, how are you going to hold an edge and get your speed?
Yeah. And then
Right.
the pipes went from, the 18 to 22.
Yeah.
Right around. I was right around 06.
Okay.
And my favorite event at the time was in Laux in Switzerland, and they had the first 22.
Oh, wow.
And you could go huge. Like, I remember the first time I rode that thing, I feel like I'm hitting a 60-foot kicker. Like, I got time in the air to do whatever. I mean, a 720 felt like a 3.
Wow.
And even 9s and everything was it was floaty. And that was one of my guys I always looked up to, John Paderas. He would do this, like, frontside 3 off his toes. He never grabbed his board, but it looked like he was floating because his board would go this way and he'd spin this way.
Yeah.
And he just kind of had this, kind of like Michael Jackson doing his moonwalk,
Sure.
but on a snowboard.
Yeah.
And that always had this attraction. I always wanted things to look floaty. I didn't want it to be spinning like a top. I wanted
Yeah.
to feel like I'm flying and floating.
Yeah.
And that half pipe allowed it. And I fought hard, like, put this in the Olympics, but no one could ride it because you had to go so much faster.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was used to going that fast from border cross, so I would have had a huge advantage if they would have done that half pipe in the Olympics, but no one was ready.
You're the first and only person I've ever heard that was like that rode 18 and that was their thing, at where 22 was like, bring it on.
It was amazing.
Most people were like, oh my God.
I loved
Like,
it.
why?
It was
Why are we doing it?
big
that much
transitions.
bigger? Yeah.
I mean, you were just, and you could go so big.
Yeah.
Because in 18, your legs are G'ing out.
Right.
And it was easy to miss transition.
Right. Oh, that's crazy cool to hear. Yeah, I rode 22 one time, and look, I couldn't ride 18 great. 12. I like 12 and 14. Those are
To go
great.
2 feet out, you're mocking across the flat bottom.
It's so scary.
And
yeah.
really, at a ski resort, you have to keep the flat bottom perfect.
Yep.
Otherwise, you can't. If it gets chundry, doesn't matter who
toast.
you are.
Yeah.
You're going a foot out.
Yeah.
So for a ski resort, it almost makes no sense to have a 22.
Cyprus built the thing for the Olympics, and the next week, they drove a cat down the middle and put like a foot gap so no one could ride it. Like it was
curb.
like, yeah, it was instantly.
That's how the half pipes used to be.
the curb. Yeah, the curb, right. It
Until
was
Frank Wells was like, no, guys, here's how you dish it out.
it was so sad because we thought that was it. We're going to have a half pipe forever, and they never built it again.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
That is devastating.
It was such a bummer.
That is devastating. Yeah, because, I mean, even for the first hour of the day, you could let her rip
Yeah.
until
Yeah.
too many people go through. But
Yep. Yeah.
they
man.
were amazing. It was a different feeling, though.
You see it at Mount Hood in the summer, how popular the half pipe is, because you get so many hits in a row.
Oh, yeah, where you're hiking, it makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Except don't they have palm or like little rope toe lifts up
They
there now?
sure do.
We never had that.
Yeah, no, that
Our
was
first event every year was at Breckenridge, 9,000 feet,
Yeah.
and we were hiking. Okay? Every year, it's all boiler because it's all man-made snow.
totally.
It was, I called it break a rib. A lot of people call it Breckenridge. I had so broke off there so many times. My first dislocation, concussions, ankles. Oh, that place was brutal.
Wow.
But they could, because of the elevation and the cold, they could have the first pipe.
So would you get, you'd have to acclimatize to that, to the base elevation and all that, or you're fine because you're.
No, we just went and were a mess. We just were headaches and.
Yeah.
I remember one year, every year I went there, I got sick, and
Yeah.
it was tough, man. And we did Dew Tour, we do Grand Prix. We're doing like 3 events there a year,
Yeah.
and it was just brutal. Like, and my buddy JJ, he'd always laugh. He'd be like, he lived in Breckenridge. He's like, I don't know what it is with these events, but we know the weather's going to be bad every time you guys come. You guys leave, it's blue. You come, it's windy. I used to, and it was really bad because, like I said, my niche was trying to go big.
Yeah.
Well, in a half pipe, if the wind blows, it would seriously blow me away from the wall.
That sucks.
And so if the wind was blowing hard, my advantage was gone.
Right.
it was pretty much a bad event for me if the wind is blowing hard.
Yeah, you need perfect transitions and perfect. Yeah.
Didn't necessarily, I got good at finding transition.
Cool.
But the wind was something that you couldn't control because you go up, you didn't know if you're going to get hit by a gust or not.
Right.
Mammoth was another place that a lot of times missed a transition.
Oh, God. So did it start to take its toll on you, all the injuries and stuff at some point, or?
I never minded getting broke.
Right.
I was always willing. I had so much heart. I loved it so much that I wasn't afraid to get hurt. And I probably, looking back, I wish I could have changed that. I wish I would have taken a little better care of my body.
Yeah.
But you look at a lot of top athletes, and they've all been pretty broke off.
Oh, hell yeah.
Sean Murray's a good buddy of mine. He's short. He still sends it big. And, like, you watch us walk next to each other, and you're like, you guys got issues, We both kind of got this weird hiccup in our giddy up. But we kind of have this thing, keep moving. Don't stop.
Yeah. He was such a dominant wakeboarder. Oh, my God.
Still is. He's incredible.
Yeah. Is he still that good?
He is so good. He still rides at 46.
Rad.
Like he's 18.
No way.
He's and he's entertaining to watch ride.
Yeah. He was good.
It makes you want to go wakeboard. I don't
so
wakeboard anymore, but
so smooth.
I did it the last day. I think second to last day I wakeboarded was doubles with him.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, I should have just hung up my board right then.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm done wakeboarding. That was the highlight. We're jumping over each other.
Oh,
I think
no
he was
way.
jumping over me. And
Yeah.
I'd follow, do a trick. He'd do it. It was, and he's like cheering you on. You're
He
like,
invented tricks, right? Like that was
a bunch
his.
of tricks.
Yeah. Like he was there at the beginning.
And he went bigger than everyone, which I loved.
Yeah.
I mean, as cheesy as this is, I'm going to, make a fool of myself here. But I used to cut out bumper stickers and put on the tip of my nose of my snowboard, "Go big."
I love it.
Like
That's
I needed
awesome.
it. It was so cheesy.
No, that's super
older guys
sick,
would make
dude.
fun of me. I'm like,
they should, but that's
and they should,
awesome.
and they did.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. That's dope. I never had a career. I was all the way through, but definitely had that go big attitude. Seeing Damien doing stuff, Farmer, like you say. So you start with Farmer. He is the go big guy.
He was.
Like
He
he was breaking trail. He was the first guy to do the Baker Road Gap. Yeah. And he did it with his shirt off. What the fuck? Yeah. So go big is super sick. That's so dope that was your MO.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean that's what Palmer did his whole career on.
He went fast and hated everyone.
Yeah, and went really, really big.
I learned a lot from Palmer. He always taught me, like, you got to have this mindset. You gotta win here. Cool. And for him, he hated everyone. He wanted to kill him.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what happened.
And he would. I mean, he was furious. He was mad in the start. He was mad after he won. He was mad at the hotel later. And we had a lot of fun. And then for me, I found, because I had a burnout stage where I did too many events, and I wanted it too bad, and I missed the whole point of why I was doing it in the first place. And I finally, I need to just go have fun. Yeah. Those days I was talking about where I was just riding with the local rippers. We do a contest, cheering each other on. So that kind of became like bringing the fun back in it. And it changed my snowboard career, honestly, to just go have fun. And that's how I would do well. And that's how I could get my mindset to be a consistent rider and win quite a few events. So
was through the
have fun. And I cheered on those snowboarders. They were my buddies. We're traveling around 10 months out of the year together. Yeah. It's like I couldn't hate my buddies. Like it brought me down, and I wouldn't do well. So if I was cheering them on and having fun. Yeah. Because all I had to do was put down my run. Yeah. I didn't have to, I wanted them to land their run. But if I could put down my run, I knew I'd do well. So
yeah, that's sick.
So that was really fun, and that changed everything.
Yeah. So that's where you have all your success, in that happy place, more happy.
I love Happy Gilmore. Happy place. Go to your happy place. Yeah, that was me.
It's all in the hips.
Yeah, it was all in the hips.
Yeah, that's
too good for your home.
Yeah.
What are you calling the hole? Yeah, love that movie.
That's epic. So how long is the career? I don't even know.
So it was 97. I get my first sponsors. Yep. 99. I'm now a paid rider. And then through 2011.
Oh, geez, that's a long career.
So, yeah, I feel very blessed. Yeah. And you asked about injuries and stuff. Did it take its toll? And when I first started snowboarding, I used to have these dreams where I'd hit the first jump in the snowboard park. I'd grab and I just hold, kind of like the video game, like 1080, right? Where you hold and you just keep spinning until you land at the bottom. Yeah. That was my dream. It was this awesome dream. And I'd always land in the parking lot all soft. Nice. You know, like just perfect, smooth. And that was this awesome dream. And then all of a sudden, I'd say like 2009, I start having these nightmares. Like I can't remember my run, what I'm supposed to do in my run. I'm falling, like I'm crashing. Like my mindset changed. It was really interesting. All of a sudden, that passion I had so many years for snowboarding started to disappear. And I don't know. I really feel like, I mean, I'm a follower of Christ, and I believe in Jesus, and I believe He changed my heart. I believe He changed my path. And in 2011, Freeride World Tours, I had won the World Heli Challenge. They gave me a full ride to do the Freeride World Tour. I go to a couple stops, and I'm praying through this. I'm like, Lord, I don't know what I'm to do, because I feel like I have a change of heart, but I have this opportunity. I know I can push through and recreate myself as a snowboarder. I've done it in the past, but I also know what's at stake moving forward. And I know I want to start a family, but I just kept praying through it. And I went to the first stop. I did this silly little fall, like stupid little nose buckled, tumbled, stopped right before a cliff, dropped it, rode down. It's like, well, blew that run, right? You can't fall. So like, well, come to the next event. No big deal. Everyone falls. And praying through that too. And that event, I changed my riding. I usually don't do much billy goating. I kind of like ride fast, try to go big. Yeah. Do some tricks or something. And I took this billy goat line where you kind of have to shut down your speed, go through a no fall zone, and then I could ride out with speed. I get in the no fall zone. I do the little air, and I just land on teeth. It was all rock, and it just grabs my board, and I start tomahawking through rocks. And I remember seeing rocks exploding. I had a camera on my head, and if you put it in slow-mo, you see rocks exploding. Like I'm bouncing off rocks, tumbling down this face. The event organizers on the radio, medics get to him before I even stop tumbling. Like I'm still tomahawking, and he's like, medics get down to him. And I just had this peace that like an angel was with me, protecting me as I hit these rocks. And I come out, I land on my feet, and I ride out, hit a cliff, and ride into the flat bottom. Just like, I'm okay. I'm alive. And the riders, they're feeling like, what, dude, you're dead. You should not be standing. I did have a hole in my hip from one rock, but it was like 5 stitches. And but I rode out, and I just felt like I needed to hang it up.
That was it.
I'm like, they invited me to the next stop, and I'm like, I need to go home. Mm-hmm. I need to go just chill. I felt like this door was closing. I kept trying to push it open. Kind of like if you got your foot in the door, right? You can't close it until you pull your foot out. So I just pulled my foot out. Yeah. And the door came slamming shut. 07 to 09 was pretty hard on the snowboard industry. Yes. It really took its toll. And I was a pretty high-paid rider by industry standards at that point. So I think, you cut Andy and you got a lot of your budget back. Yeah. And then, trying to reinvent myself. I'm not doing half pipe anymore. I kind of gave like a half go at the Olympics 2010 qualifying, but I was dislocating like crazy. I just blew out. I had surgery and blew it out 11 months later. Oh no. And I'm starting to run out of spare parts. Yeah. Like I've had 9 surgeries at that point. Oh God. I just had my 10th. So, I'm running out of spare parts, and I just needed to just chill. And I had 7 sponsors. Yeah. I'm like, well, maybe I'll lose half. It'll still be enough to live off. I lost every single sponsor that year.
7 for 7.
Like January 1st, all gone. Oh. I'm like, okay. But like I said, I was praying through it, and I just knew, like, I'm not going to plan anything for 3 months. Here we are, 11 years later, almost 12 years later. I still haven't planned anything. And wow. Just Lord has provided job after job, opportunity after opportunity. I wanted to go into physical therapy, but I had never had time, and now I really don't have time. I'm pretty busy, and so the Lord provided. And
what kind of jobs are we talking?
Man, for a while, I did anything. Well, I was starting to do some announcing. Yeah, I think I mumbled too much. Maybe you noticed.
No, man, you sound great.
And then I started doing quite a bit of commentating and speaking gigs where I'd go and speak to people. Then I did the Amazing Race with Tommy.
Rad.
That opened up a bunch of opportunities. That was 2011. That was just a couple months after I retired.
Yeah.
Forced retirement. Even though I kind of I felt it was time to walk away. I had a couple pretty major problems with like dislocating and a thumb that wasn't working, and I just needed to get some stuff fixed.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like you could get it fixed and go back to snowboarding because you're beating your body up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these are like last chance qualifiers. Like you get this fixed,
Yeah.
you need to take care of it. This is kind of like your last surgery in that area.
Yeah, if
'Cause
you
can't
break
keep
it,
stretching tendons.
yeah.
And
If you break it with hardware,
Then
in
you
there,
got major
it's-
problems.
Yeah, you're nuts. Yeah.
So it was like, all right, you got to take care of your body now. So I always tell people, if you're riding at 100%, I always rode like 110, 120.
Yeah.
I was rolling the dice.
Yeah.
I knew my limit, and I constantly went past it. I wanted that win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it paid off. Sometimes it didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I try to ride like 10, 20% under.
Yeah.
I
of
still know my
course.
limit.
Yeah, of
And
course.
I try to ride
That
under.
makes way. Yeah, that's more of a dad way of riding for sure.
And then surfing was amazing. Like you go out, you can push hard in the ocean.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I thought I was going to die, and I come out fine.
Right.
You know, you're hurting at night, but it's a good hurt.
Yeah.
Where I go, snowboarding started being like a bad hurt. And then I started riding in the backcountry a bunch. Tahoe has amazing backcountry.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like, again, I'm hurting at night, but it's a good hurt.
Yeah.
So
That's it.
I really just found a new love for snowboarding through riding backcountry.
That's so sick.
And I ride on my own terms. You know, it was scary on the big mountain events.
Yeah.
You didn't always ride when the conditions were good.
Right.
When you're expected to go down this gnarly face. Like, I wouldn't even consider going down this if it wasn't a contest.
The first few times I saw the Free Ride World Tour on TV, I've only seen it a handful of times. When you're saying you didn't usually Billy Goat, it's like, and even Travis Rice's Natural Selection, like you see what happens. You've got this big wide mountain, but if somebody takes a line and you see them chuff a jump and then another jump, they connect these features together. And you get second tracks at it, you're like, yeah, I'm going there. Like, I'm not just running a wide open, God knows what run.
Yeah.
I've actually seen, and he's put in a track. Oh, okay, this is the speed. I'm going to go straight at it from a little bit higher, and there's a takeoff that's already packed down. Like, so I watch those and go, like, this format's kind of weird.
It's gnarly.
In that, how could you possibly put down like a filmed run top to bottom first try? Like but
that's what filming is, though.
But then they did it.
They did, yeah.
This last one, like Travis, and like just watching that was like
It's
a video
impressive.
game. Yeah, yeah.
It separates the men from the boys for sure.
But watching him in the Free Ride World Tour, I was like, some of the stops, I'm like, those conditions are bullshit.
Oh yeah, and it showed.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, it doesn't make snowboards look very good.
No.
The skiers can rip it, but
Right.
it shows. You know, snowboard trying to slam on the brakes to dump speed,
Yeah, it's ugly.
and they're just chattering through stuff.
It's ugly, yeah. But I mean, I get it.
That's a challenge. How do you do it?
I talked
What do you do?
Right. I talked to Birdie about it, like Bertrand.
Oh, yeah.
He's such a dude.
Did you ever race against him?
I never
I
raced
raced against him for years.
He was a coach at Windell's when I went there in 1990 or 91.
awesome,
yeah,
Birdie,
yeah. And I've had him on the show. So he has so much heart in competitions,
Yeah.
right? Like
He was winning a bunch of Swatch border crosses when I was racing.
So that was when
Yeah.
you were racing against him.
Yeah.
How is he as a competitor? Pretty serious.
Oh, yeah. I think all the Europeans were real serious.
yeah.
Yeah.
But just a smiley, happy, awesome.
Oh,
dude.
they were great.
Yeah. That's cool.
But I mean, planning an event, yeah, he has a tough job, man. How do you run it? And they're totally willing to make changes to make it better.
Right.
But you're dealing with Mother Nature. It's like a surf event, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they kind of copy, WCT event, right? Where it's like you have a 2-week window.
Mm-hmm.
Conditions get good, you run it. Conditions never good, you still got to run it in crap conditions.
And when you think about that, a 2-week window, a professional snowboarder that's top of their game, giving up a 2-week window in the prime of their career, like, so you're gonna get a lot of people in these events that just you're like, who? And then you watch them run, and you're like, what? Like, not in Travis's event, but the Free Ride World Tour. I don't want to shit on it. I just, like, when I watched it, I was like, I get what this is trying to be, but it logistically looks like a fucking nightmare.
I imagine trying to run it would be really tough.
Yeah, like almost impossible.
But we've seen the events. I've seen them where it turns on and it's amazing.
That's sick.
I mean, you're pumped,
Yeah. That would be the best.
And I've seen guys, including Travis, ride it when the conditions weren't good, and they still made it look good. It is doable.
Yeah, Travis did.
It depends on the terrain and the approach. But sometimes it depends on just the lay of the land. If it's a more down the fall line type terrain, it's really tough when conditions are bad because you build speed too quick.
Yeah.
If it's kind of traversing lines, that works.
Yeah.
You can dump your speed.
Yeah, Scary Cherry or whatever the run is at Baldface.
Yeah.
It's
so steep.
It's so steep that you could see you basically.
I remember the first day they ran that. The guys would send something, and all of a sudden they go 30 feet further than they were planning.
Yes, it's nuts, right?
Yeah, that's the way Alaska is.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the first time I rode Alaska, I was about 8 feet off my line. Instead of doing a 30-footer, I ended up going like 80 and just missed an ice chunk.
God.
It's steep. You go far really fast.
What capacity do you go to Alaska in? Are you shooting like filming or shooting shots?
I haven't done a ton of Alaska. But I've done a couple film trips.
Yeah.
We did a commercial up there. It's embarrassing to say. There was this Casio phone. I'm gonna share it because it's hilarious.
Yeah.
It was.
I'll put it in a window on the.
Or it was this phone, and they called it GZ1, but it was like G with like apostrophe and a Z. Horrible branding, but the way it looked like Jizz1.
Yeah, I was just gonna say GZ. What is that supposed to be? G apostrophe Z is what? Jizz?
You go.
That's the only thing it could be.
And we show up, and they got it. They took some Rip Curl clothing and they put big old branding, which is like kind of a no-go on snowboarding. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Justin Lambert and I were just dying.
Oh, you're up there with Justin.
Yeah, I was up there with Justin. We had a great trip because we were surfing and snowboarding. But man, we had this battle and we're wearing this Jizz1 outfit. It's like, we're going to go Jizz1. This is great.
How does marketing miss that?
I don't know.
That's nuts.
They wrote a check. We went.
Yeah.
We surfed, helied.
Yeah.
It was an amazing trip.
Yeah, you had an amazing trip. So.
We just won in Alaska, man.
Yeah. Just won. Yeah, because it was a G-Shock. That was the Casio G-Shock stuff. Was like, I get that. That makes sense.
It's supposed to be this indestructible phone. Like, we threw it in a fire and ice, and I don't know. It was hilarious.
Jizz1 phone.
But
insane.
It was pretty rad. They... other than they ran our surfboards out to the point, it was like a mile walk to where the surf was.
Yeah.
And they strapped our boards down on this ATV, and the rack went through our surfboards. Like, they put all these holes in our board. But they flew us to the point on the bird.
Yeah.
So, like, we come from snowboarding, land on the point, grab our surfboards, paddle out. Like, that was pretty cool.
That's insane.
The first day we show up, we're walking out, and I'm about waist deep. It was this long walk out on the point, walking through these rocks. And it's about double overhead the first day. And I'm like, what is that in the lineup? There's like a fishing boat or something in the lineup. And I'm like, I'm seeing things. Whatever. It's Alaska. I'm take a couple more steps. There it is again. What the heck is that thing? Pretty soon, it's like a 100-foot humpback whale breaching right on the takeoff point.
Whoa.
And we just spent an hour walking out the point.
Yeah.
Half hour putting on this wetsuit. We're now going to have to paddle our hearts out. At which point do you turn back?
Yeah.
You don't. You keep going.
That's nuts.
Alaska's just wild. It was incredible.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
The seals look at you like you're a stranger. You're like, you're not from around here, are you?
Yeah.
It was cool.
Surfing in Alaska is rare too, right? Like, there's not like a ton of people that have done it. That's cool.
There's a little community there in Yakutat.
Yeah.
And then we took a bush plane to Icy Bay. Yeah. And the plane lands at the airport. They pull off a dead guy, put us on. We fly to Icy Bay, and we were paddling into these waves that had like glacier ice chunks floating around. Like,
oh my god!
Like, hope I don't hit one of those in the wave or duck dive into one.
That'd break a board, right?
It was cold.
Or
knock break your head
out. Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. I am very grateful for all the years of experience the snowboarding gave me.
Yeah, what a life, dude!
It was unbelievable. Things we got to experience. I'm a little mad at myself because I was a foolish teenager and even young 20s. I didn't know what I had my hands on. I didn't know any different. Mm-hmm. The things we were doing, I wish I could have absorbed it some some way more. Like I told you earlier, I don't remember half of the things.
Yeah.
You're just on this whirlwind. Get
Yeah.
on the next plane. I used to have 2 sets of bags packed. I'd come home for 2 hours. I'd have all the same boards and bindings and same clothes in 2 separate bags.
Wow.
So I'd come home, drop one set of bags, grab the other, and go hop on another plane. So you're just kind of this whirlwind. Half the time I didn't know where I was. I couldn't tell you what towns I was in.
Right.
I could probably tell you the people I was traveling with, but
Yeah, some people have that like kind of steel trap memory for stuff. Do you have it when someone reminds you and then you go, "Oh yeah," and then that guy was there?
still foggy.
Yeah, still foggy. Yeah.
Or they'll tell me something I did and I have no recollection. And it's not because I was hammered or something. It was just
I've started to have that because I'm old. Yeah.
like I was horrible. You meet so many people, I just would dismiss names right away, and which is a horrible trait.
Most people do that. Yeah.
You know, you go to a trade show, it's like, hey, nice to meet you. Meeting all these people.
Oh, totally.
And I wish I was better about that. Like,
yeah, I put an intention in there when my kids were small to like learn the names of the friends, and the parents of the classroom. Just it's more comfortable to be, 3 years in. That was my first kid. My second kid, it's like,
how many kids you got?
I got 2.
2, all right.
And by grade 1 for my second kid, I
It's
didn't
good.
know
You
any
still
of the
got a
kids.
hand for each of them, right?
Yeah.
You holding this one, or you smack that one.
Yeah, totally.
How old are your kids?
Yeah, 23 and 19.
They're not kids.
No, they're not. They're not. That's true. That's yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to break that to you.
Yeah. I still think of them as my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they'll always
totally.
will be.
Yeah. Yeah. They're great too. They're unbelievable. But
You're
yeah.
blessed.
Yeah. So now I've started forgetting like full on events like where I'm like, my parents visited. And my wife's like, yeah, remember we went to that restaurant?
That's why you have your wife.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't even, no, I don't. Yeah. And
Can
it's
you
a
warn me when I need to
frustrating
remember these things?
Yeah. It's a frustrating feeling to especially if somebody was like, remember that trip we went to, wherever we had such a time. And you're like, oh, we went to wherever together? Went to Europe? What? That's sick.
Did she get mad at you?
Not yet, because
No.
really, we're at the first one. So I don't know what it is.
You just had the first one.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's bong resin
territory.
or I'm not sure. Like, because I'm not a heavy drinker anymore. I don't smoke weed all the time. Like, so I should be clear. I should be crystal. But there's just too much
Do
stuff
concussions play into it? I don't.
in there. Yeah, concussions.
I know
for
that
sure.
could be my excuse.
You seem pretty crisp, man. I got some friends that have had some major concussions, and that is not a fun one. Have you had like multiples?
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude.
But they never like. I grew up playing soccer, and
Yep.
I used to take pride in being able to kick a basketball as high as I wanted and then head it. I'd have adults kick as high as you can, and I'd head it. Like I had a hard head.
Yeah, the pit bull.
I used to hit my head all the time growing up,
Yeah,
and so I think it got pretty darn hard. And
Yeah.
and snowboarding, it never bothered me. I'd hit my head, and I had a couple concussions. Lightning bolts to your eyes, a little loss of memory, or
Yep. Yeah.
and one in New Zealand was really weird, where everything, I would know I'm looking at Erik,
Yeah.
but you look different.
Oh,
It was this
wow.
weird, I don't know, it was really weird. But either way, none of them really bothered me, lingered. And then I think it was like in, 2018 or something. I hit my head, not even that hard,
Yeah.
but it lingered for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Like I hit my head, I'm like, shoot, I should probably chill. I feel like I might have just got a concussion.
Mm-hmm.
And then sure enough, 10 minutes later, I had a lightning bolt through my eye.
Oh no.
And then it lingered for 3 months, which I never had happened, which I think that was residual. So,
Yeah, because they pile up on each other.
or I'm just getting old.
Well, yeah.
It's just turning to mush up there.
Yeah, I mean, your demeanor and your happiness, it doesn't seem like you have like crazy post-traumatic stress,
By the grace of God, man.
but it definitely seemed like towards the end of your career there, your body was trying to tell you something. Like,
It was time.
Buddy.
It was time. I was starting to run out of spare parts, and
Yeah.
I just needed to chill.
Yeah.
I wanted to start a family, and the timing was so good.
Yeah,
And
when
my
did you
knee
meet
played
your
a big
wife?
in 2005 or 2004, somewhere in there.
Yeah, so through those last few years of competing, she was like,
Yeah, we got married a year later,
yeah.
and so she got to experience. I actually decided I was going to marry her while I was at the Olympics.
Oh, wow.
And I gave her the trip from hell, and I'm like, well, if I'm going to marry you, you should probably come. So we didn't talk about it, but I knew. So She actually told her friend the day I asked her.
Yeah.
She's like, I think he's gonna break up with me today.
Oh wow.
And then I asked her to marry me later that day. So
That's insane. Why was the read so?
I was acting weird. Just I think I had this certain way I wanted to ask her, and I needed perfect weather, and we were in Morro Bay, and it was foggy for 2 weeks straight.
Oh,
there was
wow.
like 3 days on the weather forecast that were supposed to be sunny, and it was just foggy every day. And it was the last day, and it was foggy, and I'm like, dang it, this is ridiculous. I was so mad.
Yeah,
I was so mad.
Wow. Yeah.
It was funny.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, we never talked about marriage, nothing. So it was out of left field.
Out of the blue.
Oh yeah.
And she was cool. She was down.
Oh yeah, she was so down.
So she experienced those 2 bag days where you would be home for a minute and then back on an airplane.
Yeah.
And stuck with you through
And
all
she was
that
a sales
stuff.
rep for Nikita Clothing at the time.
Oh, that's cool.
So I mean, she's traveling, I'm traveling. I think about 4 months into it, I'm like, this isn't gonna work.
Right.
We'll never see each other.
Right.
And I made good money. She didn't need to work, so yeah. So then we kind of had a rule of thumb: if I went somewhere for more than 2 weeks, she came.
Oh, that's
so
right.
she got to do a bunch of cool trips. And if I went to Japan, she came. She loved Japan.
Oh, killer.
Yeah, Japan was rad.
Yeah, Japan seems awesome.
It's amazing culture.
Yeah.
The humility, the humbleness, the red carpet. Love that place.
My oldest took Japanese. And so, I want to surprise her with a trip one day. It'd be so fun to go. I mean, I want to go there for POW. Somebody told me it's pretty flat, actually.
I think Hakko gets pretty steep, but I don't know. It's just lots of snow.
It's so deep, though.
It's so
right?
good.
Yeah.
They get just the pool of moisture that they're.
And the blower
pulling
POW. Oh, my God. Yeah, it looks too good.
I'm pretty excited. I actually got a trip planned this year through Tyler Surf Company.
Oh, cool.
We're going to go coach and take a family over there and
nice.
do some snowboarding in Japan again.
Oh, that's epic. So you still got your toe in the water.
I mean, shoot, when it turns on in Tahoe, I know 2017 and 2019 it was so good. Like we were getting some shots published and it was rad. And it's not like we were even trying. It's just when it gets good here, it's easy to make stuff look amazing.
Oh yeah.
So we got some great shots, and we'll still film, still shoot, and it's
rad.
just fun. Just go out with the boys, have a good time, get a drone shot.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh, that's so
it's
sick.
chill. I mean, I don't know how anyone has a professional career. The script's been rewritten.
It's been rewritten, hasn't it? Yeah.
It's totally different.
Well, when you look to I don't even want to get into.
Let's not go there.
Yeah, because it's a completely different thing. It's more realistic. Like some of the money you guys were making, like how does a company afford to pay that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like because it's based on projections. It's like we're gonna double our sales, and then when that doesn't happen, they're like, oh, we better do it next year because we did all our projections on this growth.
But the cool thing is, it's still kind of this free range. It's make it up as you go. I think that's what has always made snowboarding what snowboarding is.
The pro snowboarders that I've talked to of this generation, they've got so much heart and so much passion for it. That's cool. It's the same. Good to hear. They're the same people. You know what I mean?
And they're making the rules up as they go. It's not
100%.
It's not like this is how you do it.
Right.
And I think that's what always gave snowboarding that awesome image.
Yeah. Well,
or bad image.
yeah, that's true. Right. Make it up as you go. Awesome. I mean, I could go forever. We just did an hour and a half. I'll let you get back to your family, dude.
They're all asleep already. It's good. I'm the late nighter.
Thank you so. Oh, we're gonna close it out with a little tune. I think.
All right. Well, it is Christmas.
Yeah. I'm gonna turn the. I'll
check out this little beauty, little Star Dave. This is a replica from the violins that were made in the concentration camps by the Jews.
Oh my God.
If it was an actual one, it'd be worth about $500,000, but it would sound like crap because what they had access to in the concentration camps wasn't good wood or anything.
Yeah, of course.
But this is a replica, so it's kind of cool. It's got some cool inlays, and so I started when I was 4.
Yeah. Fought
my mom for 14 years. She was a piano teacher. She said, you can't quit till you're 18. And so when I turned 18, I quit. Mom. But guess what? This wonderful gift she gave me that I learned how to play the violin. So, and I still play today. Still play at our church band and other things. But 'tis the season. It is Christmas. It's December 5th or so. Yeah. So how about a little What Child Is This?
All right.
How does it start? There you go.
Thank you so
Little
much,
violin.
man.
It's no killing machine with Henning Anderson, but hey.
Dude, too sick. Thanks for doing it.
No
Thanks
worries.
for doing it. I want to give you a hug.
Yeah,
after
dude.
That one, dude.
Brother's got a hug.
FNRad shoutouts this week to Andy Finch and his whole family. Shoutouts to listener Rich Wines, who I met the other day in real life. He reminded me that I've got to have Mike Jackson on the show. Definitely. Be sure to come back next week for more FNRad snowboarding presented by Vans and brought to you by SIA Productions.